Okay, today we're going to take a look at the new Z6 II, the Nikon Z14-24 f2.8s, and the 2470 f2.8s, as well as the FTZ mount adapter and ProMediaGear L-Bracket for the Nikon Z6 II. We've also set out here my only mirrorless camera, the Fujifilm X-T4. We'll do a size comparison. And then my most recent purchase, the Nikon D6, and I've got 300mm f4 with 1.4 times extender. I was doing some bird photography yesterday. So we'll mount the 300 on the FTZ adapter and see how it does with this new Z6 II. But for now, let's open these boxes up. The Z6 II, it doesn't have as many megapixels as the Z7 II, but it has better low light performance, supposedly. The first thing we find in here, we got the warranty card with the serial, the manual, in multiple languages. I'll move this box over. USB-C to USB. Typical Nikon battery charger. Strap that I probably will not use. I never use my Nikon straps. This appears to be, let's see if I can get in closer here. If I'm correct, this is some kind of a bracket for holding cables on the side of the camera. But there's HDMI and USB cables, and yet there's another bracket. We'll have to find out. And here's our battery. Let's throw this in the charger real quick. Of course, I need the rest of the. There it is. Alright. Actually have a plug back here. Alright. Got the battery finally plugged in. Take a look at this bad boy. Alright, there it is. Oh, that is a big old cap, body cap. Wow. This is a pretty slick camera. Wow, two massive function buttons. It's lightweight. I've got a screen protector I'll be putting on here. It's got a little screen here. So when you compare with the two camera bodies, they're about the same size. I've got a really right stuff bottom bracket there, but yeah, they're practically the same size. Once I put this, so this is a Fujifilm X-T4. It's an APS-C, and this is usually if I'm traveling by plane, I take my Fujifilm gear instead of Nikon DSLRs. This is a great camera. It's got in-body image stabilization, as does this, but this is full frame. So it'll be interesting to do some comparisons. I will probably never get rid of my Fujifilm. I'm old school Nikon bodies, F3, FM2, FA, and I loved having dials on top, and that's the biggest appeal to me with Fuji. Also, their JPEG processing is the best in the, I think, of all cameras. So yeah, here I am, my first full frame mirrorless camera that I will use professionally. Continuing to look at the differences here, you'll notice that the Fuji screen is different than the predecessor. The X-T4 I just sold had a screen that works very similar to the Z screen. But this one is a flip out like this, which I think is more helpful for video, but I actually prefer, and it is nice, I can also close it like that, protect it, but I actually prefer, for my purposes, the type of screen that we have here on the Z. Alright, let's get a lens open, and the battery will have enough charge that we should be able to play with it in a second here. The 2470, I have the, for DSLR, I have the 24-70 f2.8E, which has got the built-in VR. The problem I have with that lens is it's not one of the sharpest Nikons. I actually have a 24-120 f4 that is sharper. We got our instructions, our warranty card. And I actually have a confession. I've already opened this lens. I already put a filter on it. I opened it to look at it. It is nice and light compared to the 2470 f2.8. Matter of fact, let me grab that lens and we'll compare it. Alright, and looking at the 2470 f2.8 ED, I mean, it's sharp. I've done high profile people shots with it, but if you are just slightly out of focus, the softness is immediately obvious. I had the predecessor, it was the 2.8G, it didn't have VR, that was actually sharper, and I never should have sold that lens. I hardly ever complain about Nikon lenses. I absolutely love them, but as you can see, big difference in height, or I should say height, length, weight. It's comparable. This is slightly heavier. Now let's compare the weight. I want to compare the weight of the Fujifilm. The Fuji is a 16, so it's really equivalent of 24 millimeter, 16 to 55. So it's pretty much close to. It's more like a 24 to 75, I think. Yeah, this is so this is internal zoom. Nope, it zooms out. Okay. Yeah, they're about the same weight. It's amazing to me that this crop frame is as heavy as it is when compared to this full frame. Yeah, they're about the same weight. So let's pop in a battery. Ta-da! And we have power. Before I open the next lens, let's talk about ProMediaGear. I use ProMediaGear the most. On my Fuji stuff, I have this Really Right stuff, which is a great bracket because I can use the there's a, what do you call it? They got a little socket for your sport strap. But on all my Nikon gear, I use ProMediaGear. They have L-brackets, they have that detach, they slide into these sockets. And so I've got an L-bracket I can easily attach to this. I'm always using a clamp, Arca clamp, to go in there or to go on here, depending on what lens I'm using, and then I carry it over my shoulder. So I'm a big fan of theirs. Of course, everything's made in America when it's ProMediaGear. They always include the tools, and no, I'm not affiliated with them, or they're not a sponsor. They're just a company I really like their equipment. I've got several of their tripod heads. So this will go, wrong camera, this will go on here, and what I'll do is I'll loosen this first, loosen these, this will slide out, then I'll attach this the way I need it, and then it'll fit on there. Actually, it'll fit on just like that. And when I don't need the L-bracket, I just loosen these enough and it slides out. It's a tall box for a short focal length zoom, don't you think? Okay, we've got several contraptions here. Let's see what we've got. Okay. This appears to have threads. I'm not entirely sure, but I think you can thread like a 100mm filter into that. I ordered the Nikon filter kit so I can use graduated filters. Or maybe this is, yep, this is a standard, and then that's the one for filters. Okay. And then we've got my gosh, this looks like it belongs on my 500mm lens. That's massive. Massive lens cap. Alright. I did not open this lens yet, so here we go. This is so light. It is so light. I just sold and shipped off my 14 to 24 f2.8 for that I've used on my DSLRs for the last 5 years. It was heavy. It was bulbaceous up here. This is slightly bulbaceous, but a lot smaller. Unfortunately, this is not, threaded for filters, but that's where this comes in, because when you get to 14mm, any kind of filter on here would cause vignetting. That is so light. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to go shoot waterfalls here soon, and this will be the lens of choice. I'll be using those Nikon filters. I like how this is, see, it fits very nice and snug. That is fantastic. Alright, let's look at this. This is the what I call the necessary evil. If I want to use my other lenses, I have to go to this. You know, it seems like every day another article comes out from another camera website on, you know, people switching from DSLR to mirrorless. I'm not switching. I can safely say I am transitioning my shorter focal lengths to mirrorless. But I'm keeping a lot of lenses for my DSLRs. I have a D850, I have a D810A that I use for astrophotography. I have a D7500 that I'm using right now to shoot this video. I have a D500 and this D6 for fast action, wildlife, sports, and I have some long focal length lenses I use it when I get hired for special events. So let's take the 300 here. I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, that's the big opening. This is the lens opening. There we go. I'm going to need to get a telescope adapter to use with the Z camera. Alright, there we go. Okay, hopefully you can see here what I'm trying to do is, wow, look at that focus array. That's going to be interesting. So this is 300mm FTZ, and oh, that's cool. See right there? It's some nice bokeh. Okay, last thing we're going to do here is take a look at these features on this camera. So we have the card slot, so we can put in a CF Express and an SD card. Over here we've got a whole array of things. We got the microphone button, headphones, I say button, socket, plug-in, and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. We've got the standard Nikon remote socket. Okay, I found my first complaint about the Z6 is getting the HDMI and USB. Unless this is connected. Oh, it is. Oh, my bad. There it is. There they are, the sockets. Alright. Very cool. So I go back over here, then this opens up all the way. Okay, I see how they did that. I withdraw my complaint. It's all connected. I'll be setting this up for back button focus. It's interesting, the standard Nikons, these display buttons are always down here, switches. So yeah, and I'm very excited. I will have to do a review after I get about a month of using this. Let's tell you what I think, especially compared to using the D6. They both shoot 14 frames per second. I prefer DSLR looking through the mirror when I'm doing wildlife. Like last night I was busy photographing. I was at a lake peninsula. I was photographing beautiful birds, white egrets with the sunset hitting them and illuminating them in orange. And I'm doing that as they're in flight, and I'm shooting like a machine gun, 14 frames a second. My attempts to do birds in flight with this has not gone well. The EFV or EVF can't keep up. and doing it with a screen. I do have a red dot finder that can go up here. I may try that. Try that especially on here. So that I'm basically got the lens and the red dot lined up, and I'm tracking the bird through the red dot and trusting the focus of the camera body. I'm going to try that. Alright, thank you, and I will do a follow-up review on my thoughts and experiences with the Z6 II.